Hi students, welcome to lesson number 3, concepts, construct, values and value neutrality. Research consists of concepts: the research problem, title, the study objectives, the questions to be investigated and the hypothesis comprises of concepts. The precisely defined concepts are an important step in the formulation of the research problem. The information needs of the study are determined by the definitions of the concepts. Definitions of concepts are important step for planning the research process. The objectives of the study: 1. To study the meaning of concepts. 2. To understand the constructs. 3. To know the importance of value neutrality. Let's look into the meaning and definition. A concept is an abstract symbol representing an object, a property of an object or a certain phenomena. For example, pen, ideas and group meeting. It is abstractions from sense impressions or percepts. Science attempts to investigate specific sections or aspects of reality with an abstract system of thought to interpret those segments. It develops its own terms or concepts for communicating its findings. It may not carry any ethical or moral importance. Responsibility in an organization is obligation of a subordinate to do the given job. A scientist abstracts meanings out of observed reality and attaches names to those meanings. Such names are concepts. They are indicated by words or phrases. A concept like frustration or aggression or social movement represents various events under one common name or label. So, a concept is practically a definition, in short, of a class or group of facts. The motive is to present in simplified form the thinking about phenomena, events and processes. According to the various levels of abstractions and the combination of abstractions into constructs are important to research. There is interplay among levels of abstracting and types of meanings in communication. Thus, accordingly, concepts may be defined in two ways: 1. Ostensive definition and 2. Verbal definitions. 1. Ostensive definitions. A concept may be defined ostensive. According to Russell, ostensive definition is any process by which a person is taught to understand a word other than by the use of other words. Typing is defined by pointing to the typing work performed by a typist. In verbal communication, this kind of definition is not suitable. 2. Verbal definition. This is the definition of a word in terms of other words, either at the same or a higher or lower level of abstraction. For example, a customer is defined as a patron. This definition has no value unless one understands the meaning of patron. Definitions in terms of higher level abstractions have less values. Example, a definition of customer as a source of business income. It says little about the nature of customerness or patronage. Verbal definitions are of two types: A. Descriptive definitions, B. Operational definitions. A. Descriptive or nominal definition. In terms of other concepts, this is a dictionary type definition. This is also known as conceptual definition. Conceptual definitions which facilitate communications have two traits. First, a concept is described by other concepts, not by itself. For example, the definition of power as the ability to use power is useless, but a description in terms of lower level abstractions is more useful. Example, the definition of a customer as one who buys the products or services from a given firm. Second, a positive definition is preferable to a negative one. For example, defining intelligence as a characteristic that lacks form, color and weight contributes little to communication. The descriptive definitions of concepts are of little value in research where we seek to measuring concepts. B. Operational definition. For a nominal definition, this is quantification one, that is, it is a definition in terms of specific meaning or testing criteria or operations. This definition specifies the operations which observe, measure and record the phenomena represented by the concept. These criteria should define a person, condition or phenomena in an unambiguous manner. The criteria should be so objective that any competent observer can secure the same results by using the definition. When operational definitions are used and variables are measured with precision and consistency and through the corresponding empirical observations, hypotheses and theorizes be tested. The important definition condition of operational definition is adequacy of meaning, the state or quality of being sufficient. 2. Precision of meaning is the quality, the condition or fact of being exact and accurate. Linkability. The important definitional condition of operational definition are 1. Adequacy of meaning, 2. Precision of meaning and 3. Linkability. Linkability means combination of two or more concepts in the development of concept, interrelationship such as propositions, hypotheses and theories. Here it means concepts are the knots in a network of a systematic relationships in which laws and theoretical principles form the threads. Hypothetical concepts. The concepts that cannot be given operational definitions are usually termed as hypothetical concepts. Opinions regarding their role in the scientific method vary. Brigman, a founder of the operational approach, opined that concepts which cannot be operationally defined prevent scientific progress. Let us examine the characteristics of concepts. The important characteristics of concepts are: 1. The symbols we attach to the bundle of meanings that we hold are called as concepts. 2. The representation of only one part of reality is concepts, that is, the abstractions for implications of the object in use. For instance, a concept is a concept like book means different things to different persons according to their needs. To the publisher and seller, it is a physical object of a given weight and volume. 3. For the common thing, various people hold various concepts. 4. Different degrees of abstractions are also represented by concepts. For example, a computer at a first level of abstraction is considered as a mechanical device for making data work. At the third level, it is considered as an item of office equipment. Each of these levels of concept abstraction is useful for one purpose or another. For the data work, the first level is relevant for a study of office productivity level and third may be of interest. Let us look into the importance of concepts. The concepts' importance lies in their ability to transfer information in the form of images about experiences in the empirical world. The researcher can transmit to the public the whole system of experience acquired through research by means of concepts. The generalized abstractions regarding empirical phenomena are represented by useful concepts. For example, income represents a trait common to different persons. The usefulness of concepts is evaluated by the extent to which they permit meaningful classification of objects or traits. So, the means of communication and generalizations are the concepts. For constructing assumptions like generalization, concepts are used. The generations of assumptions are made through the liking of two or more concepts. For example, concept A, then concept B, or the greater A, the smaller b. The combination of a number of assumptions into a system leads to the construction of formal theories. For example, people belong to different levels of social class. Another concept, participation in democracy. An assumption, participation in democracy covaries with social class is constructed. In addition, a number of further interrelated assumptions bring about a formal theory from which researchers may deduce propositions. Let us study the classification of concepts. The concepts are classified into 1. Concrete concepts and 2. Abstract concepts. 1. Concrete concepts. The illustrative material objects are the concrete concepts which can be seen, touched and felt, example chair, book, etc. 2. Abstract concepts. The properties or characteristics of objects are the abstract concepts. For example, the height, the intelligence, leadership, etc. They are constructs, that is, they represent inferences deduced from observable events. They represent inferences at a higher level of abstraction from concrete events, and their meaning cannot be easily conveyed, pointing to specific objects, individuals or events. The observable events which are concrete represent the abstract concepts or constructs are called variables. While constructs are the abstractions, variables are representations of constructs. Any of the construct, or for example power, intelligence or social status, can be measured in various ways, as there are a variety of concrete representations of any abstract idea. For example, political power could represent the amount of influence a person has at his office, at home, in the society, in the mass media or in his circle. Each one of these representations is a different variable, but they are all related to the construct. Together they are all mean by power. The difficulty in defining concepts. It is difficult to define the process of concepts. To define common objects like water, pen or book, we may face difficulties. We may show pictures of them, but to present a precise word picture is very difficult. It is more difficult to define abstract concepts like intelligence or frustration. Unclear and inadequate definitions may lead to lack of clarity in scientific communication. Few reasons for this problem are: the scientists perceive or experience particular things. They symbolize them through scientific terms. Concepts develop from a shared experience. The dictionary definitions are not satisfactory. What a demographer means by net reproductive rate would require an elaborate verbal definition. Better understanding is by participating in the operations of which these terms refer. Terms which are used to denote scientific concepts may also have meanings in other frames of reference. The scientific words which are newly coined or taken from Greek or Latin. For example, audit from audior, cooperation from cooperare. Concepts are also named after their discoverers, but these concepts have scientific meaning only. The different phenomena are referred by a term. For example, the function has several usages. It means ceremony. It means activity in economics. It refers to relationship in mathematical sense. The way of living is a function of economic status. A common phenomena may be referred by various terms. A scientist may use the words for with subtle differences in meaning, but the reader may take them as synonyms. For example, study, research, investigation has similar meanings. Status, rank and position have similar meanings. A term may not possess immediate empirical referent. The concepts may not empirically measurable which have logical relationship with other concepts. For example, managerial effectiveness in management are not empirically measurable. The concepts meaning may change. As knowledge accumulates, terms are modified. The definitions change and the consequent shifts in meaning confuse the reader. For example, the word intelligence was conceived as an inheritable stable intellectual potential, but now it is refined as a score made on certain types of test. Let us look into the process of operationalization of concepts. The operational definitions of concepts are the means by which we quantify variables. They are important in research project. The process of operationalization or defining concepts operationally is a complex task. requiring extensive knowledge and reflecting thinking. It involves a series of steps or procedures to be followed to obtain a measurement. The broad steps involved in the process of operationalizations are as follows. The researcher selects the major concepts from the title of the research problem, the objectives of the study, the investigative questions and the hypothesis. He attempts to operationally define each of those concepts in the following manner. 1. To examine the definition of the concept in the published literature, books or articles, giving importance to chronology of definitions. 2. To discover the various usages of the concepts and analyze the apparent meaning elements of the concept. 3. Identify the measurement criteria relating to the meaning element and specify appropriate quantitative measurements. 4. Formulate a tentative definition based on measurement dimension or the measurement scale. 5. To submit the definitions for a critical appraisal. 6. To examine the degree of congruence between the conceptual definition and operational definition of the concept. Let us enter into the constructs. They are the abstractions we use to represent specific things in a study. We use constructs to encapsulate meaning and operationalize such meaning into a researchable component. That is, we cannot directly study the tools and techniques available to protect assets from harm. So, instead we might study cyber security. Cyber security is a construct for the meaning. Another example is the construct we may use to describe human participants like age, gender, etc. Here, the demographic constructs represent something about the people that we specifically want to study. The constructs are the broad concepts or topics for a study. Constructs can be conceptually defined in that they have meaning in theoretical terms. They can be abstract and do not necessarily need to be directly observable. The examples of constructs include intelligence or life satisfaction. One can describe the difference between constructs and concepts in terms of set theory. Constructs extend over actual cases, whereas concepts extend over both actual and possible cases. As such, theoretical claims made about, say, the integritin in the context of survey research. A construct is the abstract idea, underlying theme or subject matter that one wishes to measure using survey questions. Some constructs are relatively simple, like political party affiliation, and can be measured using only one or few questions, while other constructs are more complex, such as employee satisfaction, and may require a whole battery of questions to fully operationalize the construct to suit the end user's needs. The complex constructs contain multiple dimensions or facets that are bound together by some commonality, that is, as a whole compose the construct. Let us study the values and the value neutrality. Values are the datum having an empirical content accessible to members of some social group and a meaning with regard to which it is or may be an object of activity, explanatory context. Social values are different from objects in as much as the latter have no meaning for human activity. Values in a social phenomena is an inescapable result of being part of society. The concept of value neutrality. The concept was proposed by Max Weber. It refers to the duty and responsibility of the social researcher to overcome his personal biases while conducting any research. It aims to separate fact and emotion and stigmatize people less. An example of it is as follows. A teacher is asked by the principal to provide a report of how well the students had performed in the class test. On the basis of that report, the principal would provide necessary resources to those children, including books, copies or stationaries. If the teacher, in order to show his capabilities, presents a report where, although maximum students had actually failed, were shown to be passed with good grades. The students would not get benefits they deserve from the principal. Again, in the field of medicine, if a doctor lets his emotions and personal biases get hold of him, he might not perform his duties properly. Value neutrality is of enormous importance to social workers because their contribution towards the knowledge of society and social phenomena immensely affect the laws, legislations, people, groups, policies required to be made, social changes that should emerge, and so on. Scientists should be value neutral, otherwise their findings and analysis could provide distorted and manipulated results. They need to remain impartial while conducting the research and should not omit or deduct any important information from the findings and should present the results without distorting any parts of it. A scientist needs to keep himself away from manipulating the outcomes or findings of the research, even if those results contradict with his own views or beliefs. Scientist can become value neutral by being aware of his own values, beliefs, or moral judgments. He should be able to identify the values he held and prevents them from influencing his research, its findings or conclusions. Being a part of the society, it becomes difficult to not incorporate one's personal values and moral judgments. Being a part of the society, it becomes difficult to not incorporate one's personal values and moral judgments to the social phenomena. So, most scientists want readers to understand how particular social research to some extent might not be entirely value neutral. The readers are made to see those kinds of outcomes as one of the many possible truths. They believe that while studying certain social phenomena, it becomes difficult to sideline one's personal values or biases. However, in spite of such difficulties, it must be the prime motive of scientists to maintain value neutrality as much as possible. The duty of maintaining value neutrality, however, does not forbid him from having any opinions on the subject matter. It means only that the scientist should not add or skip any information in order to match the outcome with his opinions or personal beliefs. They should establish value neutrality, a practice of remaining impartial without bias or judgment during the course of a study and in publishing results. To do this, they must be conscious of their own personal values. Value neutrality does not mean having no opinions. However, it just means that scientists must strive to overcome personal biases, particularly subconscious biases, when analyzing data. It also means that scientists must avoid skewing data in order to match a predetermined outcome that aligns with a particular agenda, such as a political or moral point of view. In this lesson, we have studied the meaning, the definitions and importance as well as usages of concepts, constructs, values and value neutrality. A concept is an abstract symbol representing an object, a property of an object or a certain phenomena. For example, the pen, ideas and group meeting. It is abstractions from sense impressions or percepts. Science attempts to investigate specific sections or aspects of reality with an abstract system of thought to interpret those segments. It develops its own terms or concepts for communicating its findings. The constructs are broad concepts or topics for a study. The constructs can be conceptually defined in that they have meaning in theoretical terms. The concept of value neutrality refers to the duty and responsibility of the social researcher to overcome his personal biases while conducting any research. It aims to separate fact and emotion and stigmatize people less.